All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. Now, it might be hard to believe at this point, but just 2 years ago, the Oklahoma State Cowboys had knocked off Oklahoma in the last Bedlam game before the Sooners went to the SEC. That year also saw Oklahoma State get to the Big 12 championship game. However, since then, it has been a rapid decline for the Cowboys. Oklahoma State began the 2024 college football season ranked in the top 25. Okay. And it appeared that it was once again going to be business as usual in Stillwater as the Cowboys won their first three games of the season. But once Big 12 conference play began, the Cowboys would go on to be the only team in the Big 12 as far as league play went to not win a game as they went 0-9. And included in that was finishing their season with a 52 to nothing loss at the hands of Colorado. Now, naturally, there was some optimism for Oklahoma State heading into a new college football season. But you look at things and it is quickly evaporated for the Cowboys. We're talking about a team, they're 1-2 so far this season. Their only victory is over Tennessee Martin. We saw them 2 weeks ago go to Eugene and have the doors blown off, courtesy of Oregon, 69-3. Oklahoma State had themselves a bye before they welcomed in-state rival Tulsa to Stillwater last night. And of course, we all know what happened there as Oklahoma State fell to Tulsa 19-12. And it's one of those where you really cannot underscore um, the importance of that loss for Oklahoma State because we're talking about this is the first time since 1998 that the Cowboys have lost to the Golden Hurricane. And on top of that, it's the first time since 1951, okay, that Oklahoma State lost at home to the Golden Hurricane. And for me, it's one of those, it's no disrespect to Tulsa. But I feel like losing to Tulsa, if you're Oklahoma State, especially at home, is unforgivable at this point for head coach Mike Gundy. And you look at things right now because coming into counting last season rather, Gundy's Cowboys are now 4-11 in their last 15 games. You got to go back to the end of November of 2023 to find the last time that Oklahoma State won a Big 12 game. And you just got to ask yourself, well, how did things get so bad so quickly for Mike Gundy and Oklahoma State? Well, I'll tell you like this. Mike Gundy is not a head coach that likes to go out there and use the transfer portal. But I'm going to tell you like this. I know that Mike Gundy is an OSU alum. I know that no head coach has won more games for this Cowboys program than Mike Gundy has. But if Mike Gundy doesn't get things turned around soon in Stillwater, and if he is able to maintain his perch as the head coach at Oklahoma State for 2026, he is going to have to accept the transfer portal because you look at things right now for Oklahoma State and it's unacceptable. We're talking about an offense right now that's only averaging 14 points per game. They're averaging giving up more, close to 32 points per game this season. So clearly, a lot has not changed on the field. Coming into today, the Cowboys were 110th in the nation in total offense, while they were 80th last year. Okay, they only have one passing touchdown on the season. That is not going to get it done. And, it's amazing because it wasn't that long ago that Mike Gundy was getting quarterbacks, NFL caliber quarterbacks that were going to the next level. And it was as poetry in motion watching their spread offense. He was getting the big name receivers like a Des Bryant, that would come through this program on their way to the National Football League. The talent is not there anymore. Okay. And you just look at what this Oklahoma State program is right now compared to where they just were a couple of years ago. It's like night and day. 2021, Oklahoma State went 12-2 that year. They were on the cusp. They were mere inches away from winning the Big 12 and getting to the college football playoff before they lost to Baylor. Okay, they went 12-2 that year. They came back, like I said, in 2023. They lost to Texas in the Big 12 championship game, but the Cowboys went 10-4. And you thought about it with Gundy, and he had a team that could consistently be in the top 25, but they've fallen off. And it's one of those things. It's inexcusable at this point for Mike Gundy, because you look at it. Oklahoma State has the resources. Oklahoma State has the boosters, and they will and they have pumped millions of dollars into this program. And there's no reason that the Cowboys should not be able to keep up in the Big 12, especially at this level, because you're 1-2 right now if you're Oklahoma State. And we haven't even talked about the Big 12 slate of games. And Oklahoma State opens up Big 12 conference play next Saturday at home against Baylor. You cannot afford to get lost in the shuffle again if you're Oklahoma State. And I'll tell you like this: for as much as Mike Gundy has meant to this Oklahoma State football program, if this season continues to be a sequel of last season, you know what? I hate to say it, but Mike Gundy's probably going to get his walking papers. It's one of those where he's not recruiting, he's not bringing in those impact players, and of course, he has failed to go out there and find those impact players in the transfer portal. And it's one of those where nowadays in college football, if you are a big time program, if you're a program from the Power Conference, and if you cannot go out there and not just recruit, but consistently get those impact players from the transfer portal, you ain't going to keep up. You look at Texas Tech and the players that they literally bought for their defense, and you look at the turnaround that's going on this season in Lubbock for that football program, another Big 12 program. So if you're Oklahoma State, you have to find a way to keep up with the Joneses. And if Mike Gundy does not want to do that, I guarantee you that the folks there in Stillwater are going to bring in a head coach that will. Mike Gundy, has meant a lot to the Oklahoma State Cowboy program for nearly 2 decades now. Okay, and in fact, it is 2 decades since or more than 2 decades now, when he took over when Les Miles left to coach at LSU. But nonetheless, you've got to turn things around, and you've got to turn things around very quickly. It's one of those, like I said, it's been a rapid decline for Oklahoma State. And if getting blown out by Oregon is one thing, but then turning back around and losing at home to Tulsa, if that is indicative of where this Oklahoma State football program is headed, as much success as Mike Gundy has had there, somebody else is going to be coaching this team if he doesn't turn it around, and he's got to turn it around quickly. It has been a rapid decline for Oklahoma State. And the way things are looking right now, I'm not sure if they are going to be able to salvage their season. Wow. I know Oklahoma, the state of Oklahoma is in the middle of the United States, but things have basically turned around there in a bad way for the Cowboys in a New York minute. Will Mike Gundy be able to turn things around at his alma mater? I'm not sure, but nonetheless, something has to give and things have to change for the Cowboys. But folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take the time out to thank all of you for checking out the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. And as always, if you like what you heard and saw in this podcast, you know what to do. Just hit that like button, as well as subscribing to the channel. Like I always say, it's greatly appreciated. Also, if you are on the X, formerly known as Twitter, you can check me out anytime at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it will be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365, and you can check it out. Drop a line and be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. And just like it is on the X, you can check me out anytime on Instagram at 300 pounds of sports knowledge. And like I said, you give me that follow, I will give you that follow right back in return. But until next time, fine folks, my name is William Martin. I'm signing off and I'm saying thanks once again for checking out the 300 pounds of sports knowledge podcast here on YouTube. Be well, everybody.